Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, "Wife dumped me 4 months ago but keeps living with me and keeps being sweet and cheesy. What can I do about this?" To make a long story short, we got married last summer, moved out of my mom's and into our own apartment in May this year. She grew distant not long after and started avoiding me as much as possible. By October she told me she wanted to leave the relationship. As usual, I had no say in the matter. In November she wanted to get back together. At that time, I told her we would have to take things a bit slowly. I had been so removed from her emotionally I could not get myself back to where we were just like that. I wanted to ease back into our relationship and make sure things would not go back to how it was, because it was pretty bad for most of our married life. Now she tells me hesitating was the nail in the coffin and it is really over this time. I guess she could not stand the idea that I too have some precedence in our relationship. This brings us to today. I take marriage seriously and have offered many times for us to work together to create the life we had imagined together. She says she would like to, but that she has made up her mind and it is really over between us now. The problem is that she still sorts of lives with me. She spends most days at her friend's place, but whenever it is convenient she comes home. Her work is relatively close to where I live, and when she works night shifts she comes home to sleep. All her stuff is here still. Even more disturbing is that she keeps being sweet and cheesy like when we were together. She calls me sometimes by our nicknames, holds my hand and touches me sometimes and acts like we are still together. The other night I was smoking some hash by myself, got really high and enjoyed doing a creative project, responsibly. Suddenly she came home and started nagging that I should not smoke as if it was her business. Now I am scared to smoke, or even just enjoy my own company, on the weekends because if she decides to turn up she will yell at me and make me feel like crap. Call me an addict and take some twisted moral high ground. She refuses to move out. Every time I try to explain that us living together is really bad for me emotionally she freaks out and throws tantrums. I cannot move on when we live together. I feel stuck in a strange limbo where we are not together, but not broken up. She does not have a full-time job, but I am certain she could afford her own place if she had to. But now she says her priorities are to pay for her driver's license, which in my country usually end up costing around $4,000, $7,000 USD, and a car, also ridiculously expansive. I really do not know what to do. Part of me thinks she is not really serious about breaking up when she acts like that. At the same time, I have seen how crazy she really is. She has threatened me to make the divorce a living hell if we don't part on her terms, which apparently involves being super sentimental about everything. She has a strange thing with doing things, for the last time, which really messes with my head. I also pity her. She does not have anyone now that she has parted with me and my family. She does not have any family or anything. I know that she is controlling me to satisfy her own chaos. What can a man do in such a situation? I really need some advice from you guys. A user in the comments said, "Dude, do not let her back in. You are her scratching post. If you let her live in your house and play pretend whenever she wants, this is going to be your entire life, up to and including when she meets another dude. She is already making your life a hell. Change your locks and toss her stuff outside. It will hurt short term, but a lot less when she uses your house as a crash pad to go visit her boyfriend." Another user said, "Yes. This exactly. Pack up her stuff. Tell her she has 7 days to come pick it up, or you're throwing it away. Then change your locks and keep your word, and actually throw her stuff in a dumpster, if she doesn't come get it. This woman needs boundaries. She doesn't get to break your heart, break up with you and still take advantage of your kindness and enjoy all the benefits of being in a relationship. She chose to leave you. Hold her to that decision and make her actually leave. If she won't leave, you don't say whether she's on the lease, partially owns your home or not, or if you can legally kick her out, then you leave. Break your lease, sell your house, do whatever you have to do to get away from her. Get a new place and do not tell her the address. She's threatening to make your divorce a living hell. She's already doing that. It's time to start protecting yourself from her. The next one is titled, Update, Wife, 27. Dumped me 4 months ago but keeps living with me and keeps being sweet and cheesy. What to do? In my last post I explained that my wife had broken up with me, but that we still were in a unhealthy relationship pattern. It has been 3 months since my last post, and let me just start off by saying I was totally dumb, insecure and foolish. Part of me even feel a little bit embarrassed that I ever was in such a situation. But I promised an update, and I want to let anyone out there who is stuck in a toxic relationship know that you can get out and be so much better off for it. The wife and I are currently separated and awaiting divorce. She has moved all her stuff out. I still keep a little bit in touch with her but try to keep it minimal. Some would probably be mad at her for doing what she did to me, but honestly I am not. She did me the greatest favor of my life. She recognized that we were never going to be happy together and she did something about it. Now I am free. I realize that going from the state of basically a teenager, student living with parents etc., to enter married life prevents you from getting to know yourself. It is like I never matured because I was too busy looking after the wife and ensuring her interests. But these past few months I have probably grown and matured more than all the 4 years we were together. And now I know that just because a relationship is good in terms of memories, the present is what matters. Heartbreak is just anxiety to part with the past. But the past is insignificant, and so is heartbreak. I feel like I was reborn. Without that marriage with all its concerns and commitments, I was able to just unpack my own ideals and start working towards becoming the person I want to be. This week I quit my job. The apartment is up for sale. I am starting fresh in a new city, starting a new BA after summer. I have been able to establish healthy routines and maintain a healthy lifestyle. No drugs, no porn, no overeating and overconsumption of pointless media. I threw away most of my old clothes and actually dress like an adult. I am at the point now where my soon-to-be ex-wife does not even recognize me. If there is anything to learn from this, it is that relationships can expire, and when they do, do not be afraid to throw it out. Heartbreak and sadness are a natural response, just welcome it and don't be afraid of it. Your own personal growth is what matters at the end of the day. If a relationship prevents you from growing, it can only cause you pain. The next one is titled, I got into a fight with my girlfriend brother's best friend at my girlfriend's birthday party. She broke up with me over it but has called me twice in the middle of the night crying and saying she doesn't actually want to break up. I'm 18M, Saz is 18F, and Josh is 28M. I started dating Saz when we were both 15. Her older brother has a best friend Josh who has lives across the street from them his entire life, first with his dad. Then he died when Josh was like 13, so his grandma moved in, but she died 5 or 6 years later, so it's just him living there. Cass's family always invites Josh over for dinner and holidays and vacations and stuff because her mom feels bad he doesn't have any family left. So, he was there too when Cass's family invited me to come to their lake house upstate last week. It's huge, they have a big private lake, and since it was Cass's birthday, they threw her a small party. Josh has never liked me, I don't know why. Saz told me that he's just messing with me, like an older brother. I get along fine with her actual older brother. It's never really bothered me because I've never liked him either. He's always been a dick to me. The day of Cass's birthday, Josh had it out for me all day more than usual because he was drinking and smoking all day. He was making slick comments and then passing them off like jokes when I snapped back to make it seem like I was overreacting, saying crap like, "Whoa chill man, it was only a joke," when nothing he said was funny. Anytime Cas and I were alone or hanging out together, he would step in and interrupt whatever we were doing. At one point we were sitting by the fire and Saz was on my lap and he literally yanked her off of me. At the end of the night, I was walking back up to the house and Josh was walking the other way. He walked past me and hit his shoulder into me, then started talking crap about how I'd better watch where I was going. Just talking a lot of crap really aggressively for no reason. Normally I just ignore his crap, but I was tired and had been dealing with it all day, so I told him to shut the duck up. He popped off and it turned into a whole thing. Saz was really upset about the whole fight. She said she knew that Josh had been pushing me and talking crap the entire day, but she said that Josh was really mad, and she thinks we should take a break, because now she thinks things will be too hostile. I honestly don't get it. Josh is the one who started the fight. Josh is the one who goaded me all day. Josh is the one who's been pushing me for no reason for the last 2 years. Josh isn't even her brother, but for some reason me and Saz have to take a break because of him? At this point it was the day after her party, so I left. That night she called me up crying saying she didn't want to break up with me, but she felt like she needed to. So, I asked her if she wanted me to come back up there so we could talk it out, and she said yeah. Then when I got there she texted me and told me that she had just been upset, she didn't want to see me that night. So I drove back home and she had blocked me on everything. I didn't hear from her until last night when she got home and she called me again crying, saying that she missed me and wanted to see me, so I told her to meet me at this diner down the street from her house, but when I got there I waited for her for an hour and she didn't show, and when I tried to call her she had blocked me again. I want to go over her house today, but I don't know if that's not being respectful of what she wants. I don't want to cross any boundaries or anything. But I want to talk to her face to face. I want to figure out what's going on because I'm getting a lot of mixed messages here. Our relationship was fine before this. I don't think she actually wants to break up. I could use any advice. Thanks. Update: since posting this she called me again saying she wanted to meet up to talk. I told her she had already flaked on me twice so she could just come over to my house whenever because I'm doing work from home most of the day. She says she'll come over in half an hour, we'll see. A user in the comments said, Josh likes Saz, that much is apparent. What he's been doing leading up to this is probably dropping little comments about you, not just to you but also her and her parents. He's filled them with some ideas about you. Now that she's 18 he is starting to finally make his move by pushing you past your limit. He caused the fight specifically to get you out of the way. I would bet when you were still there her parents talked with her. More than likely Josh said something to her parents about how much of a hothead you are and how much they feared for her safety. They put pressure on her to break up with you. That's why she's going back and forth. Josh said a lot more to her and to her parents after you left that is causing a lot of this. And her parents are siding with Josh on this one. As an adult they're respecting him whereas you were just a kid. So don't go over there, you're gonna have to give her some space right now even though she's technically 18 and an adult. She's been influenced by others and if you go over there or do something pushy Josh is going to use that as further evidence of you being aggressive. It sucks but you have to be very patient and mature. If she comes around then great. If she doesn't then she was letting others always dictate something to her. Another user said, actions, not words. Trust what she does, don't trust what she says. She says she wants to get back together, but she's blocked you twice now and blown you off when you were going to meet up. At this point she's just jerking you around. Not the action of someone who wants to get back together. The next one is titled, First Update to the CAS Story. Saz came to my house to talk. A lot of crap was going on that night that I didn't know about, so I'm sorry if this doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm still trying to put everything together and I haven't slept yet. I always just thought Josh was a prick, but I didn't know how much worse he might be because Saz always downplayed everything. The way he acted towards Saz always annoyed me, but she always said it was brotherly. During one of the more heated parts of our conversation I told her that this wasn't brotherly. This was jealousy. She said Josh does make her uncomfortable a lot of the time, but ever since she was a kid her mom had always drilled into her head to be nice and accepting to Josh. Anytime she had said anything about him making her feel any sort of way her mom would remind her that Josh didn't have any family and tell her to be nice, so she's just learned to ignore him and the stuff he would say or way he would act to her. We don't know how but at some either on or before Josh found out something that happened last year that Saz chose not to share with her family and that seemed to set really Josh off. She said that there was a lot of stuff Josh was saying to her that day that she didn't tell me because she said I already seemed so aggravated by what Josh was saying to me. He was pretty much holding what he knew over her head and threatening to tell her parents. At the same time, according to Cass's brother, he was telling him and their parents that he had overheard me yelling at Saz, that when they weren't around I talked to her like crap and other complete lies like that. Then the fight happened between the two of us and Cass's family was sure I was the reason for it, and at the same time Josh was telling Saz that he was going to tell her parents what he knew. So, she said she was feeling a lot of pressure from them to cut things off. Then the next day after I had left the lake house, the day Saz had wanted me to come over, Josh ended up telling her parents anyway. I don't know why. Cass's dad flipped out and her mom got all upset. They made her block me and told her they didn't want her seeing me again. Then the night before last happened, and she said she came home, and her brother and Josh got into a fight because at this point Cass's brother was starting to realize that Josh was getting way too involved, so there was a huge fight between the two of them that her entire family got involved in. She stayed over my house yesterday after we talked, which her parents aren't happy about because they still believe what Josh is saying about me being the bad guy here. Cass's brother came over to get her, but we ended up having a long conversation about everything. He said his parents are upset about what they found out and mad that me and Saz didn't talk to them about anything, and because of that they're still believing the stuff Josh told them about how I treat Saz. Not a lot has been resolved and we still have a lot to work through. Cass's brother cut off ties with Josh, but the parents haven't. Again, sorry if this doesn't make sense. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. I know a lot of people said just to cut my losses with Saz and move on. I know we're young, but I really don't think I could see myself not being with her, and she said she feels the same way. We need to figure out how to talk to her parents. A lot of people told me to show Saz the thread. I haven't yet, but I summed up what a lot of the comments were saying to her, and she said she'll read through the comments herself once she wakes up. Edit to add. Saz said it was okay for me to share. It was an abortion that Josh found out about. We're normally really safe. We messed up once and got pregnant. Neither one of us felt ready. It was a hard decision to make, but we both thought we should be done with college before we start a family. The next one is titled, Final Update to the CAS Story. Hey everyone, hopefully this'll be my final post. Yesterday me, Cass's brother and Saz went to her parents' house to talk to them about everything that was going on. Right off the bat it didn't go well. They didn't want me in their house. Cass's mom wanted to call Josh to come over because she didn't think it was fair we were having a conversation about him without him being there. All they wanted to talk about was the abortion. They think I pressured Saz into getting one. They think I pressured her into having sex in the first place. Pretty sure they still think that and think I just forced her to say that it was her choice too. When Saz told her parents about Josh, her mom said she had no idea Saz felt uncomfortable about him, that Saz had never told her he'd done anything to her, and that Saz has to be misremembering things because her mother would never tell her to ignore someone making her uncomfortable, insinuating that once again I was the issue here, saying that Josh and I have never gotten along. I was turning her against him. Josh's intentions had never been more than protective and brotherly. At this point Cass's brother stepped in and was like, "What the duck? I'm actually her brother and I think this crap is insane and creepy." To which the mom replied that of course Josh doesn't know how to express himself in a healthy way. He grew up without a mother and was orphaned young, and that of course they needed to talk to him about his involvement in things, but it was nothing worth ruining relationships over. I'm not going to lie, at this point I checked the duck out of this conversation because it was obvious it was going nowhere, and her parents were already convinced I was the bad guy and Josh is just misunderstood, and they clearly didn't give a crap what Saz thought or said because everything she said was just dismissed as misremembering. So long story short, Saz took some of her stuff and left and is going to be staying with me. Her brother will go get the rest of her stuff later on today. Her parents are pissed as duck about it and think I'm the Antichrist hellbent on ruining their family. We were going to move in together soon anyway. My grandmother lived in a house about half a mile away from my parents on their property. After she passed, my parents gave me the house, but it needs a lot of renovations and my dad and I were going to wait until the fall to do it because it's hot as crap here and there's no air conditioning in the house, but we'll just suck it up and start now. My parents are cool with her living with us in the meantime. Thanks to everyone for all of the advice. Me and Saz both really appreciate all of you taking the time to help us out. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.